Welcome back to More Up North here at the Taproot, 3300 Spenard. You'll have to come by on a Thursday night, do the tapings at 5:30. We'd love to have you. Our panel again, Bill Walker, Tank Jones, and the rose between two thorns is Tom Begich, his sweet self.
I'm dressed in my rose color.
Yes, exactly. So I was asking you, the sort of Eddie Burke Society, the people that, the Second Amendment Task Force, these people that, I've been places and had them surround me and show me their guns and not let me move around or make me feel like I couldn't. They weren't physically detaining me, but I didn't feel, like I could move around. What's gonna happen here if they don't win?
Well, I've known Eddie Burke since he owned the gas station on the corner, managed or leased or owned the gas station on the corner of 6th and Gamble, and Eddie Chevron there. And
that's right, he ran against your brother.
That's right. I wrote a piece on it for my old magazine, POL, that was called The Rise and Fall of Eddie Burke, and it was a very respectful piece. But Eddie was a person who was manipulated by people who didn't care about Eddie. What they cared about was pushing that sort of hate agenda. And Eddie was, basically, I'm not defending him except to say it was a disservice done to him. That is a microcosm for the way certain people, and I'm not limiting it to that party, my party has done it too, but people who decide that the power is more important than the actual public policy. So here's what I think is going to happen to those guys when they lose. And they're going to lose all across the country. They really are.
Right.
Americans are smarter than that. And there may be one or two of those folks that get elected that are I think an anathema to you and me, both. Those people who don't speak for the rational Americans that we are, and I know you know what I'm talking about here.
Yes, I do.
Those folks are going to go back to what they were doing before they got stoked up by Fox and other folks to hate. And they're going to go back to their couches, and they're going to go back and sit back down and do nothing because they're going to lose, and it's going to deflate them. Unless they keep getting stoked up. But after a certain point, a human being gives up on that kind of stuff. You can only hold so much hate in your system. But I will say one thing, one or two of them will do the crazy things we've seen, like the guy who flew his plane into the Texas building, the IRS building down there, or the person who's driving down the highway with his weapons intent on going to kill. Those kinds of things will always happen. They happened before the Tea Party, they'll happen after the Tea Party. Point is, mainstream Americans aren't going to tolerate that, and those people have been sucked into the lie of that entire movement. I think they're going to reject it. When they lose, they're going to go back to the fairly complacent lifestyles they were leading before that. That's my opinion on it.
What do you think about that, Tank?
Yeah, I worry about the payback because if you didn't support me and you didn't get behind my rhetoric and I lost, it's your fault, not mine. And so I'm going to make sure you don't get that job. I'm going to make sure your family don't get this extra donation. All the stuff I promised you, I'm taking it back because he or she lost. Because it's going to be payback all the way around. That's like the Sarah Palin syndrome. If you do me wrong, or if I think you did me wrong, I'm going to get you. I'm coming after you. I like people chasing me, though, but I don't run.
I don't think anybody's chasing you, Tank.
Oh, I got some people chasing, believe it or not. Be surprised.
What do you think of this, Bill, about this? Because I think there are people that are in the Tea Party for really honest reasons. They're upset, they don't like the deficit, they're worried about the future. I have all of that too. I don't like the debt. Yeah. I'm worried about the future, but it's not wrapped up in a flag carrying a cross.
Well, and I don't think that post-election, I really hope that, and I don't think that we're going to see any sort of, regardless of how it comes out, any sort of crazy. There are crazies out there everywhere on all sorts of issues.
Every day,
every day. But hopefully they will focus on the good that came from what they did. And that's what we did. We didn't focus on the fact that we weren't successful. We were successful. We had 35,000 people. Who the heck was Bill Walker? Seriously. And then 35,000 people are out there saying not about Bill Walker, but about the issues. And so if they can focus on the issues that are important, they'll continue to advance that.
But see, that was in your era. This is a different era we're in right now. You guys have respect for one another, and
this was in
you guys
August,
could talk.
and
I'm talking before.
Right.
But I'm just saying, some of the people that now it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
This not going to be something that you can touch or you can grab. This is going to be done in the back room, in the boardroom, and things of that nature. It's not going to be something that, some of the stuff we'll never even hear about or see.
Yeah.
Well, I was invited up to speak to this whole group. They were doing a big debate in the Valley last year. And I was like, you know what? How you talk to each other, do you know that one of you is going to wake up the day after the election and the other one's going to be your representative?
That's right.
Now, think about that. And the whole pick up the phone, call them. If they had a good idea about potholes, give them a call. But if we actually, somebody's going to win this U.S. Senate race. Somebody's going to win the governor's race. Somebody's going to win all of the House seats and everything else. And they're going to be representing the people that they've just been beating the crap out of.
My brother Mark, when he was running for assembly one time, he supported another candidate who was running against Bob Bell down in South Anchorage. And he worked really, really hard. Bob Bell knew he was doing that work. And after that election, he called Bob up and he said, I'm coming by. Bob says, why are you coming by to talk to me? He goes, because I need your vote. I want to be assembly chair. Bob says, why would I vote for you for assembly chair? You just spent the last 3 months working against me. Mark goes, because I'm the best one for the job. Bob was stunned by that, and so he said, all right, come over. They talked. Bob Bell voted for him. And because the attitude ought to be when the election's over, we're done.
Right.
I put my philosophy out there. You didn't buy it. Great. That's if it's about a philosophy. That's if it's about something you believe. That's how it should be. Tank's right. It's changed. Now people, when they're threatened, they'll either go in a back room and then they'll find some people that don't know much better and they'll put them out front to scream and shout and yell while they cut the deal.
And they'll say, hey, I don't know them. I met them one time. I never even looked at their Facebook page. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
They tweeted me.
Yeah.
They tweeted at me. No, but I was at Ted Stevens' funeral, and I thought it was really amazing to watch the people there react to Joe Biden. The vice president flies up here, and people are like, well, who the hell does he think he is?
He was brilliant.
Who does he think he... Oh, he's the vice president, I guess, I mean, I'm hearing this walking in.
Yeah.
People are just like, oh, Ted Stevens is going to roll in that. I mean, people were cranking out. And then Joe Biden stands up there and tells the story of their friendship, of both of them losing wives, of their friendship together, how they had dinner with each other all the time, this life together.
Yeah.
And their friendship, and you never saw their, they weren't, arm in arm out politically, but that's something, like when people say, what would Ted Stevens do? I've seen that on a lot of campaigns, and I'm like, not like this.
My thought
No, and listen to, I was there as well. Senator Inouye, what a incredible. That was a life moment in Alaska. I think to have been at that service. But for him to, and you're right about Vice President Biden. I had an event in Cooper Landing. I'm thinking, I'm listening to Joe Biden's going to go on for like days. I'm never going to make my event in Cooper Landing because he can talk a long time. But he did a great job, and so people from across the aisle, it was. So I hope that hasn't been lost. I really don't, because that's really what makes the country great, and what's made Alaska great. It has made Alaska great, is that kind of reaching across, saying, okay, the final vote's been counted, or recounted, however that's going to play out.
Or challenged again.
And again. But be able to say, okay, now what do we learn from this? What can we, how can I really hope? And Tank, you said it well. But I really hope that they will say, okay, the election is over, but we still have the problems today that cause each of us to run for office. Let's solve those problems. Maybe we won't be in the same order we thought we would be in, maybe not the same offices we thought.
But the problem is still the problem.
Absolutely, the problem is the same problem.
Well, one of the things I kind of think about in this discussion is you have a person who might be a Catholic who talks to somebody who might be a Methodist. Now, you don't have a problem doing that. You have completely, those churches split.
Not in this century.
No, not with those two.
No.
The other two.
But I've talked to Mormons too. And my point is, you can talk across religion. What made it suddenly bad that I couldn't talk to a Republican or a Republican couldn't talk to a Democrat? But that's ridiculous.
Well, you don't walk up to a person and say,
what's your party?
Yeah, what's your party?
You don't ask them what the religion is, but you still have a
And you know what?
conversation.
When you go to the gas pump, and when you get your Instar bill, It doesn't say, oh, here's the Republican bill and here's the Democratic bill.
No,
Okay.
it's our bill.
When it's health care, when you go to the emergency room, they don't ask you. They ask you what you're allergic to.
Well, see,
and if you say Republicans, you better hope they're a Democrat. But, you know, truth be told, the real life issues, the people that fall in potholes, they don't ask. You know, today I saw an accident. Those firemen that stopped there, they didn't say, oh, did you vote for Sullivan before we helped this poor man on the road? You know? No. You know, the real life things don't have to do with our party.
Correct.
And I think the more we can, you know, the more we can get back to that, what are the issues, what are your values, and how can you move that forward? And maybe it's not always the same party, maybe it's not.
We've been faked into believing there's more that separates us than brings us together. The three of us on this panel have a hell of a lot more in common than do the folks that are sitting there making, frankly, hundreds of millions of dollars and in your back rooms. We have more in common with each other because we actually give a crap about where the future goes. I think we do.
I think so too. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back with questions for our panel and more up north.